I don't think there was anyone really surprised with the province's pivot today because this was funding that was being directed towards programming that supports seniors and those individuals that are living with disabilities. And it was also funding that was going towards educational supports for African Nova Scotian and Indigenous students. I think perhaps there was more surprise and shock that the province decided to go down this road and propose these cuts in the first place. It certainly led to a lot of protest and an apology from the Premier today. Premier Tim Houston admits his government got it wrong and announced they were reversing $53.6 million in funding cuts made to programs that support people living with disabilities, seniors, and African Nova Scotian and Indigenous students.
There's one kind of rule that I always have kind of had, and I try to instill in my kids too, is like, can I put my hand on my heart and say we did the right thing there? And I think when I put my hand on my heart and I said, what will the impact be on people living with disabilities, I couldn't live with that.
The reversal will see the deficit climb to $1.24 billion, but necessary, said Houston, to protect some of the most vulnerable, who he apologized to today for causing undue stress.
Nova Scotians have spoken clearly. Many people told us that they were worried about certain parts of the budget. Outside the legislature, another massive rally, the third in the last week. More people still worried about cuts, wanting Houston to reverse cuts made to the arts and culture sector.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to see the cuts that did come back today, but I think Tim Houston's under the impression that the arts don't create money. He was big on we need to move forward, we need to generate income.
Houston said the government will need to grow the economy to pay for programming and pointed to natural resource development and the defense sector as prime opportunities. The arts sector says the cuts ignore the revenue they generate across the province.
Arts are up and going. We're ready to hit the floor running, and we generate revenue on a yearly basis. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce indicated that last year we brought $2.6 billion in GDP to Nova Scotia.
Opposition leader Claudia Chender says the entire budget should be scrapped and redrawn, calling the process chaotic.
This is a government that went through with cruel cuts, that sent out messages to their cabinet ministers and MLAs over the weekend to defend and explain those cuts poorly. And now they are feeling some pressure and walking it back.
For now, some cuts reversed, but the budget debate continues. Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
I'm McConvey at Progress Place in Halifax, one of the 34 agencies in Nova Scotia that support persons with disabilities. 24 hours ago, these groups were faced with tough choices, shrinking programs, increased costs, and what to do next. But after today's announcement, those decisions can be put to rest for now.
We know that operational grants aren't being cut, and we're hopeful that that really means we can continue the essential service work that we're doing.
This doesn't mean the cuts don't affect their programming altogether.
Club Inclusion relies a lot on arts funding. So we have a theatre program, music therapy, all sorts of arts, community arts funding that really supports our program. So we still have to see how we're going to be affected.
The Dartmouth Adult Services Centre was looking at a $400,000 cut to their programs.
I think the Premier listened, and that's due to the pressure and the voices and the testimonials of persons with disabilities and their families and supports.
Collectively, these organizations support 2,700 people with intellectual or physical disabilities. Katrina O'Coin is one of those. Her sister Brittany, who's her primary caretaker, is relieved by these changes, given she was expecting her sister's programming to jump nearly $2,000 a month.
These are not things that people should even have to be fighting for, should even have to be stressing about. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, I as a 31-year-old should not have to be running my mouth on the internet to get people to listen.
And a lot of emotions outside of the legislature as well, from parents whose children rely on these services.
That Graham will be able to continue enjoying the programs that he has all along, which allows him to further develop his skills and ability, and frankly gives us some respite at the same time.
Hoping that he's true to his word. I'm ecstatic that it's happening, but we also need him to stop the other cuts.
So, Bruce, relief tonight for a number of organizations who work with people with disabilities, but still some worry and anxiety about what's next and what this all means for their operations. Parents, too, are grateful, but they're also worried as well, Bruce, because it's been a long day for all of them tonight.
groups.
Oh, for sure. Thank you, Emma. CTV's Emma Convey and CTV's Jesse Thomas reporting live tonight from the Nova Scotia Legislature.